Hello and welcome to Cutting Words. I'm Brad Thompson and this week is Kiwi RPG week, where we celebrate content creators across New Zealand in the RPG space. So to celebrate that, we're going to take a look at a RPG game, a system that has come out of New Zealand, Monster of the Week. You may have heard of it before, you may not have. If not, you're in for a treat. To help me go over this rule system, I've got phoning in from all the way down in Wellington of New Zealand, the capital city. We have Ruby Kemp, questbook storyteller extraordinaire, master of the Monster of the Week role-playing game. Hello, Ruby.
I'm here. Hello. Thanks for having me on your channel. I'm excited to show you the awesomeness that is Monster of the Week. We're going to have a good time. Have you, I don't think I asked you to, but have you had any chance to look over roughly what Monster of the Week is? Not so much.
No. So,
Great.
What I do know is Adventure Zone, the D&D podcast, almost D&D, it actually changed a few systems, including Monster of the Week. Long time ago, in the early stages of the pandemic, I listened to a little bit of that. Don't remember anything about that now, because that was before times, and I'm pretty sure the pandemic was a decade ago now, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's how that works. Yeah. So, assume I know nothing.
Okay, great. Well, funny you mentioned that. That is the show that I have a poster of just off camera and a keychain for. I love that Adventure Zone season.
Yeah.
But, which is also how I came to find Monster of the Week as well. But it's an awesome game. It is a Kiwi RPG. Hooray, Kiwi RPG week.
Yeah, Kiwi RPG week.
Woo! But it's named after the same type of like TV shows, Monster of the Week TV shows. So things like X-Files or Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Supernatural or those kinds of things. And rather than necessarily going on like quests, the way that Monster of the Week is kind of split up is into different mysteries. So there'll usually be a monster or a weird phenomenon of some kind, and the players will play the group of hunters or agents or whatever it is that are going to go and figure out what's wrong, deal with it, and hopefully come out alive. Ideally. Usually they do. It's also
perfect. Yeah, because I'm actually, I'm a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. My wife's a huge fan. It's kind of one of the things we first bonded over when we first met. Love that. Love Supernatural, all those type of that genre. So
yeah. Oh yeah,
perfect.
I was a big Supernatural kid, so that's absolutely how I relate to a lot of this stuff. But it's really great, and all of the characters, rather than having character classes, like if with your D&D you got fighter and wizard and all that kind of stuff, they're all pretty much based off of those kind of show tropes. So you have like the Chosen, who is like, you know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You have things like the Monstrous, so something that is actually a part monster or full monster that's part of the team. You have Mundane, who's just like the Xander of it, that's just the guy that hangs out with all the very powerful people. And it's extremely cool, and all of them have their own individual like what is called moves in Monster of the Week. So they have their own playbook with their own set of moves that they can do depending on the situation, because it's all a lot more narrative based than, well, it's a lot more narrative focused, I would say, than D&D. It's a lot less.
You lie. There's not a narrative in D&D. How could this be?
By which I mean, you are never going to be playing Monster of the Week and have to wonder if, you know, can I count these hexes diagonally for my 30-foot code? You don't have to worry about that in Monster of the Week. It's just, can I do it? Yeah, probably. Okay, great, let's do it. Whatever works for the story is the main way to go about stuff. But yeah, it's great.
Right.
I'm very excited.
So a player has like a, vivid imagination, go, like, I want to try this thing where, I don't know, do this thing so I can freeze the ice here, and then we'll adhere to ice, and maybe trap the monster, or I don't know, whatever kind of thing, and let's try, let's roll with it kind of thing, as opposed to, do you have the right spell for that? No, or, you know, Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot more open-ended rather than like you have to have these specific things, which is great because then it means it's really a fun exploration, like way to explore storytelling, because there's a lot less of me as a person running a game having to be like, oh, that's a really cool idea, but technically you would need to be this multi-class to be able to do that thing. It's like, no, hell yeah, let's go do that. Awesome, I love it.
So it's baked in rather than having to homebrew or adjust things.
Exactly. Yeah, rather than having to, rule of cool it. Rule of cool is kind of the intention, which is awesome. So I thought one of the easiest ways to kind of show you how the game works and how it kind of differs from D&D stuff would be to just show you how to make a character.
Perfect.
If you're
I'll get my D20.
No,
what?
D20. No. Throw them into the fire. No.
Not my D20s. I need those.
No D20. All you need to play the game, all you need is 2d6, but you don't need any dice for creating a character. It's literally just make your choices. Exactly.
Okay,
two regular-sided dice. Perfect. Now I should...
I rolled a 7. What does that mean? All right. I'm going to eat it myself.
Nothing right now. I should get you in a game. Would probably be
you want to get a Roll20, send me a linky link? Where we instantly got into Roll20 up and working straight away. Wow, it's so amazing, so efficient. I can see why you are top of the quest book storyteller page right now, Ruby. This is why you master Roll20.
Absolutely. That's definitely what I'm there for. Cool. So if one of the great things about playing Monster of the Week on Roll20 actually is that if you have, say you've already purchased the books or something, rather than having like the digital Roll20 specific option, you can still just select to use the playbooks and then just use that rather than having to have the specific assets in Roll20. It's great. So this I literally just set up by selecting the playbooks. But if you go over to your journal section, so the one that kind of looks like a newspaper.
Oh, yes.
And in PDFs, you should have an option that says Hunter Playbooks.
Yeah, Hunter Playbooks.
That's the one. So this is the different types of characters that you can have in this game. There's a whole bunch of them, and they all do some cool and interesting things. But I'll give you a bit of an overview of the character sheet and how this kind of works in practice before we go choosing stuff, I suppose. So you'll see up there, it's got, The Chosen is the name of the playbook. So the kind of character class that you're playing. There isn't as much character crossover in Monster of the Week as there might be in other games, because the idea behind it is to kind of play the epitome of that kind of character. So like if you're playing a chosen one, you are the chosen one in your game. If you're playing an expert, you are the expert.
Right, as opposed to like difference between a fighter and a paladin, like they've got a little overlap there. There's just no overlap. It's kind of like you are this, this, and this. There's no crossover.
Exactly, and less of the like I'm gonna take like I'm gonna be half and half multi-classing style stuff. You can still take fun aspects from other characters, but there's less doubling up. But what you can see here is that you've got your playbook title, The Chosen, and then underneath it you've got your 5 stats essentially. Charm is your charisma. It's your social stat, how good you are at talking to people. Cool is about keeping your cool, not about how cool of a person you are.
Yeah, I'm super cool, guys.
I'm so
cool. How much cool I've got. All right.
Sharp is your investigative stat, so like noticing things about your environment or figuring out problems or facts about a situation. Tough is what you use to beat people up or help stop people being beaten up. It's your main combat stat most of the time. And then weird. Weird is usually your magic stat. So if you want to play a character that... Yes, exactly. That is magical, you would play with weird. There are also some really fun alternative options that you can use weird for in the Tome of Mysteries expansion. So there's things like weird science. So rather than doing magic, you're like mad scientist, or you're able to like really empathize with people, or you're able to have like gut instincts on where you should go. So there's some fun kind of alternative flavors for it. Yeah, it's real fun. But those are your kind of base stats for your character. Those are your base stats for your character. And basically, when you put a character together, you'll get a real simple modifier for those, just like you do with most other RPGs, that you're going to add to your roll to see how well you do. It's a lot simpler math than D&D. You're much less likely to be in double digits for starters. You're probably
what type of numbers we're talking here? Well, since these numbers go in these boxes, these circles, I assume. And
yes. So you're gonna. It's basically, if you scroll down a little bit in your character sheet to
like
the next
page. All right. Oh, right.
So you'll see here your ratings up the top. So when it comes to character creation, rather than rolling for stats or anything, you just get to pick which line of these you want to use for your character. And then when it comes to making your rolls, whatever modifier you have for the relevance skill, that's what you're going to use. In Monster of the Week, rolling for... when you're rolling dice in Monster of the Week, there are pretty much 3 outcomes. You're either going to completely succeed, you're going to get a mixed success, or you're going to completely fail. So when you're rolling your 2d6, it is a 1 to 6 is a complete fail, a 7 to 9 is a mixed success, and then a 10 or higher is a complete success. So it's like I mentioned, it's a lot simpler math. And some of these modifiers can have a pretty big impact on like how well you can be do certain things, even though they might feel like small numbers.
Definitely less variable than the D20, whereas
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a lot clearer outcomes than you might have with a D20 for sure.
I should have some little damage too, like some speed math in D&D where it's like roll 8d8, then add up the numbers, and then add this and this, and it's like add up the numbers.
Absolutely.
Combat
so
moving.
much easier. So actually, that's a great point. If we go back to that first page, I can show you how health works.
Perfect.
We're going to skip over luck because we'll come back to that. That's an interesting thing. But instead of having your hit points, you have harm. Everybody has a harm tracker. Everybody has 7 on their harm tracker. If you just mark one of these boxes when you start taking harm, and different attacks will have a different amount of harm. If you get to if you get past that line in the middle, so if you've taken 4 or more harm, you are probably unstable and need immediate medical attention.
Like that. All right.
And if you take 7 harm, you're dead. It's that simple.
What, the resurrection mechanics, is that it? Like,
it can be, yeah.
Back? Oh,
there's a chance. But that's basically how your health works. And as well in combat, you are always going to, when you are attacking things, you get to deal harm to something, and it will almost always deal harm back to you. So it's not as gamey as D&D, where it's like, I'm going to try and sneak in and run away because they probably can't hit my armor class. It's like, no, if you're going to get in a fight, you're going to get hurt. We'll see how bad you get hurt after the...
Things are scarier. It's not the heroic genre. This is...
exactly. It's a little more real
you're down in the
world.
muck. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Street level.
If I get stabbed by a spear, that's a problem that I need to fix. I can't do that 7 different times and be okay.
Just give me an hour. I'll be fine. I'll fully heal up. What? What do you mean? What?
Yeah.
How's that work?
It's all right, I'm just going to take a nap and somebody sing me a song and I'll be all right.
Yeah, give me a short rest.
Yeah. The other kind of cool mechanic that is very different to D&D is the luck mechanic. So that other counter that you have at the top there is your luck. Basically, everybody gets 7 luck, and that is for the entirety of their character's existence. So not just for the particular quest that you're running for, but for as long as you are playing that character, they have 7 luck. Luck can be used to either take no harm at all from an attack, or to automatically roll a 12. So you automatically got 2 6s on your roll and you get to add your pluses. It's the best roll you could possibly get. However, when you use all of your luck, you become doomed, as you will see on that track. Basically, that means that the keeper, which is the GM for Monster of the Week, can just do all of the bad stuff to you and you're not allowed to get upset. That's basically it.
Okay. Oh, so it's not, you're not necessarily going to die, per se, but it's just, you wish you were dead. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. You don't instantly die if you become doomed, but it'll be very hard for you to...
You extremely have ill luck. I guess you have bad luck now, right?
Straight out of luck, exactly. Experience is the other kind of tracker that you can see there. That's when it comes to how you gain experience and level up your character. Every time that you fail a roll, so every time you get 6 or lower on a roll, you mark experience, and when you get to 5 experience, you level up. So it's all about failing forward, which I really like. It's really nice. So those people who
always roll bad, and so you get so much XP, it'd be crazy.
Exactly. And I find it great, like, for 2 reasons. One, because you don't get that feeling that sometimes happens of, like, okay, well, I failed, so my turn is pointless. Like, it's always going to lead you to a little bit of progress, maybe just further down the line. And also it kind of plateaus at a certain point where if you get enough improvements on your character, the chances that you're going to keep failing so much are going to lessen. So it's a nice way of dealing with that, I think. Yeah.
Cool. And so when it fills up, do you clear it and gain something?
Yeah.
Was that it? All right.
So when you fill your experience up, if you go back to the second of page of this character sheet,
the chosen
playbook,
one.
The chosen one, you get improvements. So you can see there in that leveling up section in the middle, there's an improvements thing underneath it. Improvements are basically what you get for like as level ups, because you don't have specific numbered levels. And they let you sometimes improve your stats. Sometimes you can use them to like take abilities from other playbooks if you want to get something a little interesting. You can get more moves from your own playbook, so you can have more of your own stuff to do. And when you get up to, once you've taken 5 regular improvements, you can start taking advanced improvements over the other side, which includes maybe getting a luck point back. Great. As well as maybe just creating a whole second character for yourself, or retiring to safety and going and letting your hunter actually live for the end of the quest.
Boring.
Yeah, and you can also completely change your hunter type as well as an advanced improvement. So like if you started out as a chosen one, that's a great example in Adventure Zone Amnesty itself. They had a chosen one who kind of gave up on the chosen path and just became a mundane for a while, and completely just became a regular dude. So you could do that as well. Or if you were a professional who was doing really hard fight and somehow got bit by a werewolf, the next time you come back, maybe you're in the monstrous playbook and you're just a werewolf now. Yeah, it's a lot of options available for progressing that character's story as opposed to necessarily progressing just because of the class options or because of the playbook options. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been throwing around a couple of terms about moves and stuff, but I think to give you a better explanation of how that actually works, let's pick a playbook and let's go ahead with what we would like to do. So as if we were making a character for an actual campaign. So for yourself, as a self-professed Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, is there any particular kind of character in that world that you would like really love to play? Like, would you be more of a Giles or a Xander or an Angel? What kind of vibe are you after?
Oh, well, I think you know, we have looked at Chosen One quite a bit. I feel like anyone who's played with me will definitely go. I tend to go with the Chosen One archetype. Is I the Chosen One?
Yeah.
But what else we got here? We got let's just quickly skim through these, eh?
Yeah.
We've got what the Crooked. What's that one?
Yep. So the Crooked is like a criminal, basically. So you're usually slightly on the. You've got a bit of a shady past, and you're probably a bit on the down low, but you're joining the team for now. Sure. The next one, Divine, is you are a holy divine entity that has come to Earth for a particular mission.
Angel, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, angel or whatever you want to be.
Cool. All right. The Expert.
Expert is, again, we're just going to keep using Buffy the Vampire Slayer references. Expert is Giles. Expert is the person that knows everybody, knows exactly what the situation is that they need. And they also have the special feature, which is their like haven. So they have their own kind of HQ, their kind of home base. Yes, exactly.
It's like my room right here. This is my D&D lair. Wonderful. Oh, a library, I guess. Be boring. How predictable. Let's see. Here we got the Flake. Okay.
The Flake is basically the conspiracy theorist. So it's very much the Agent Mulder from X-Files kind of thing. Like you can see all the red string everywhere connecting everything, and it lets you kind of really assess the situation in unique ways.
There. The Gumshoe?
Yes.
Detective?
Yeah, exactly. Gumshoe is very it's very film noir detective. So you have your like detective code, and you're really good at making connections with particular people in your city, like if you're that kind of vibe.
Cool. The Hex?
The Hex is a spellcaster. Usually when you are a spellcaster when you're a spellcaster in Monster of the Week, there are a bunch of different options you can choose from for your spellcasting, and you basically just do a roll to see if you actually got to do magic or not. For the Hex, they have the option to pick a bunch of spells that they have memorized and know what the effect will be. So they're a little bit more reliable if you really specifically like want to see back in time or want to be focused.
So a bit closer to D&D spellcaster, we got these precise spells.
Yeah, so if you actually click on that next page, so you get a bunch of rotes, and you are allowed to discuss with the keeper like what you want your specific spell to be able to do on a success, a mixed success, or a miss, rather than it just being up to the keeper to kind of interpret how that works out. Yeah.
Cool.
The Initiate. Yeah, the Initiate is a like a cultist. You're inducted into some kind of dark order who's out there to kind of help monster fighting and stand against the evils of the world, or just kind of stand for your cult's beliefs, or your own sect's belief, I should say. Don't want to make any judgments, you know.
The Monstrous.
Monstrous. This is you're a monster. It's kind of self-explanatory. You will have a particular curse that you have to deal with. So like you'll have a particular thing that you are like vulnerable to, or that you need to fulfill in order to kind of keep yourself okay. And then you get a bunch of different monstrous possibilities available to you as moves, like just straight up being able to fly or change shape or be able to run super fast, a bunch of that kind of stuff.
Cool. And the mundane, right?
The mundane. Oh, honestly, one of my favorite ones. I'm trying to be impartial, but I love the mundane. You're just a guy. You're just a random person who is also here.
That's just playing me. I don't.
Exactly. It can honestly so much fun to be in a world of random magic. Like, imagine if you actually just got dumped in a D&D campaign. That is the mundane. It's great. A lot of your skills are for when other people help you out of bad situations. It's great.
Oh, monsters. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. It's mundane again. Oh no. Next one.
Pararomantic.
Pararomantic. What's this about?
I think this is probably largely based around Twilight. You are in love with a monstrous supernatural thing, and that love is a big driving force behind whatever situations you are involved in, and how well that goes depends, like how well your relationship goes affects how well your situation and the mysteries and unfolding shenanigans will go.
All right. The professional?
Professional is, I would say, probably more so the Scully of the X-Files analogy. The professional is, you know, the person that is trained to go and do this. They are actually meant to be out hunting monsters, as opposed to someone that might have just stumbled into it. Yeah.
Searcher? Oh, there's a lot of these, aren't there?
There's a lot. Searcher. Searcher is also a molder from X-Files type, except you've actually encountered the thing. So as opposed to the expert that opposed to the flake who's kind of out there purely theorizing, the Searcher has actually had an encounter with some otherworldly thing, and that gives them an interesting weird abilities, and then they're also still searching for more of it.
Snoop?
Sorry, the Snoop is basically it's not Scooby-Doo, because there is one for Scooby-Doo, but it is like the pesky teenagers that get in the way. So like the people that might just be everyday vloggers that are also out there looking for cryptids. Like a ghost hunter YouTubers, probably gonna be a Snoop.
Oh,
yeah.
The ghost faces. Yeah.
Yes, the ghost facers. The ghost facers are 100% Snoops.
So good. Alright, Spellslinger. All know a spellcaster?
Yeah, Spellslinger is the like OG spellcaster for Monster of the Week, and are specifically specifically better at actually fighting with magic, which is not something that's usually super effective with other playbooks, but the Spellslinger is really good at it.
Cool. I cast Fireball.
Exactly.
A Spooktacular?
Okay, now the Spectacular I have not actually come across before, which is I'm not 100% sure which book it's in. I'm pretty sure the Spectacular is like circus themed, I think.
That's the artwork, it looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Spooky traveling sideshow
circus
thing.
Spooky traveling sideshow vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. They work at Spookers part-time. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
They've seen some things.
And then there is the Spooky which is
all right.
Yeah, which is more your kind of probably possessed people, that kind of feeling. The really creepy kids in horror movies are the spookies.
Or Wednesday Evidence.
Yeah,
Vibes, maybe?
Wednesday Addams. Yeah, absolutely. And I believe
Wronged?
yes. Last off is the Wronged. So this is the Wronged is very much like a John Winchester from Supernatural. They are someone who has lost someone or something dear to them, and thus set out and became a monster hunter.
I'll have my vengeance, kind of
exactly,
thing.
Exactly. So they're really good at fighting the thing that wronged them, and they're usually pretty stoic. I would say is probably the right term. Yeah.
Are they okay against other things, or just no? Only just one thing. Sorry, that's not my one enemy, so I'm out of here. Sorry.
But yeah, if it's anything other than ghosts, it's not my problem.
Yeah. I'm all about ghosts, mate. Ghost faces. We're gonna do ghosts, not ghosts. Sorry, it's a mummy. We can't help you there. Sorry.
Yeah,
ghost
sorry.
What?
No, they are good against a lot of other stuff. They tend to be weighted towards like tough, so weighted towards being the combat person. But they are extra good at fighting the thing that wronged them. Yeah. So that's all of the ones that you can just get off of the website. So is there anything that you
is it more? So there's more out there as well.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, there's so many.
There's a lot.
Do you know the number?
Oh gosh, off the top of my head. I don't know the number, but I would say at least 10 more on top of that. So there's a lot.
That's all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot that came out. There's a lot of Time of Mystery specific ones, and there's also a few kind of one-off ones that have kind of been come out before. They're also in the upcoming in the upcoming Codex of Worlds expansion. There are also going to be like group playbooks, which I'm looking forward to a lot. So you can, rather than so
there's a third book coming out soon.
There is. There is. I'm very excited for it. Coming out soon, but you can go pre-order it from Evil Hats on their website. So there'll be a whole bunch of stuff. It is a 416 page expansion. So
that's a lot of pages.
There's a lot. But that's including like different mysteries and like I mentioned, the kind of team playbooks and a bunch of different variety. So definitely worth it. Yeah.
Okay.
But just running through the list that you can just get for free.
Well, let's talk about Chosen. After all that was go to the first one. Chosen.
Hell yeah.
Perfect. I'm the chosen one. Let's go.
Right.
All right.
This is perfect. So, when we're putting a character together, we are going to very quickly go to the second page of Chosen.
Okay.
And actually, if you want to minimize this this PDF in Roll20,
okay,
I can show you how we can go about character creation in
let's close it. There's a minimize option here. Alright, I'll close it. It's gone.
Cool. So, new player, that's you.
Okay.
We can go
new
here.
Player. Edits.
And edit. Yep. And we should be able to.
Oh, is it not edit?
Wait.
Hold on, I cancel. Is it?
Hold on a second.
Oh, it's loading. It's loading. I was too quick for it.
There we go. We're too eager. Great. So you could choose your playbook up the top there in playbook and go The Chosen.
Keeper. Wait.
Whole bunch of stuff. That's all my secrets that I get to have.
Oh, there's this here. That would be fast way to scroll through them, wouldn't it?
Oh, there's a whole heap.
Oh, there's extra ones there. Look at that. So.
Yeah. They're good
so
fun.
Many.
Middling Kid, that's the Scooby-Doo one, which is also very good.
Alright, we'll go to The Chosen. The Chosen one!
The Chosen one. So yes, you're able to put whatever looks or information you want about how your character looks, but you might want to come back to that after you've made your character. if you're going down the left-hand side there, you get starting stats. So
Okay.
underneath your weird.
Underneath my weird. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Starting stats.
So, cool. And then you can choose your set.
Choose
So
my
which
set.
of those you want to be really good at.
So charm is like charisma. Cool is it kind of like willpower?
Keeping your cool. It's kind of it's like
will?
wisdom save.
Wisdom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
will.
Well, okay. And sharp is what was sharp again? That was
Smart and like investigativeness.
oh, so intelligence, tough like con,
Yeah.
weird,
Magiciness.
magic thing, which is kind of
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it doesn't quite line up with D&D. But yes, that one, but
Slightly
we're-
different
we're gonna-
umbrellas. Exactly.
yeah, we're close. We're close to lining it up. All right. Let's go with Can't be charismatic and cool. What? Oh, okay. Yeah.
No.
If you're cool too, then you can charm one.
That's true.
But you can't be. Oh, how did I decide these numbers? Okay, it's it, isn't it? So you can't be charismatic and cool. You can be charismatic.
You can be
Ah,
mildly charismatic and very cool.
very
But
cool.
you can improve them as you level up as well.
Yeah, I want to be super cool
Great.
and charismatic, so I'm gonna do that.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yes. How so? Because you've got the chosen one, you're under the your fate. You get to pick how you found out that you were the chosen one.
Oh.
This is the variety of options that the character sheets kind of come preloaded with, but also if there's anything in particular that you think you have in mind, you're welcome to choose that instead.
So you can discuss with the keeper and go, look, I got this crazy idea for my chosen status.
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah. These are just flavorful options as opposed to hard mechanics.
Yes,
I take it.
Yeah. All just flavor stuff for the moment.
Perfect. Let's see. Let's see. Zombie nemesis. That's good. Like some random guy. I'm your nemesis. Who are you? What are you talking about? That sounds like a perfect way of finding out. Some guy jumps you and is like, nemesis. Like, who are you? What are you talking about?
I challenge you. What? I'm just in countdown. What are you doing?
Yeah. What is this about?
Fantastic.
Perfect. Perfect.
Amazing. Then you also get to pick 2 tags for your fate. So what your heroic fate will be and what your heroic doom will be. So like as part of the chosen, you have a fate that you are working your way towards with all your adventures. And there are 2 good aspects to that. So like you're working towards it through secret training or through developing your magical powers. And there are 2 bad aspects to that, as in you have to deal with, being impossibly in love with someone or deal with treachery or loss of loved ones, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And
so
again, this is a lot of flavor things, but also when you use your luck as a chosen one, the keeper is able to kind of pick from these flavor bits to throw something at you in the story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like keyword, kind of trope things that kind of references for, I guess, for the keeper to go, right, the player wants these kind of aspects in their game to throw at them and encourage to do so when they spend their luck. All right.
Yeah.
All right. How do you fit one fold? Let's see. So pick 2. Let's see. My fate. Let's go with decisions. I'm gonna go. Visions are great. I love giving players visions in games. I love getting visions in games. So I'm definitely gonna go visions.
Good dream sequences.
Yeah, perfect. So such good story avenues you can do there.
Absolutely.
And let's go. So fate also destiny, you get visions, and let's go with powers. Just magic powers.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Magic powers just happen.
And now the bad stuff.
All right. Let's go with Impossible Love, that's great. Like, I just want to do like, you know, like, just want to be with this girl. Why is this crazy stuff happening? Yeah, it's a classic story, right? Superhero kind of story. Let's
Mary
grab
Jane
that
would
one.
never understand.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is doubling up, doing the Nemesis again, isn't it?
Unless it's just another Nemesis.
Just another Nemesis. Why have I got so many Nemesi? What is going on?
Nemesis.
Why are they all fighting over me? Yeah, they're fighting over me. It was always nice, those Nemesis, the villains who out to get you, who are like, no, if you want to get killed, I'm the one who will kill you, and they save you. It's
yeah.
Okay, dude, sure, thanks, I guess. That's the best kind of bad guy to have. So sure, I'll just double down. I'll have multiple Nemesi, my Nemesi. The League of Evil or something. Who knows?
Exactly.
League of Nemesi.
Incredible. I love that. Awesome. Now, there is a thing I will skip over allies and teams and histories and notes, and we'll jump back up a little bit.
Okay.
I'll come to histories a little bit later. You've got your harm, you've got your luck, you've got your experience trackers. They're all good. So as a chosen, you automatically get those first two moves from this list. So Destiny's Plaything and I'm Here for a Reason, you can just tick automatically.
Okay.
Such as, you know, as I mentioned, death can be a thing sometimes, but because you're the chosen one, you can't die until your fate comes to pass. You must. You have plot armor built into your character.
Perfect. I like this class, as if you may call it. If you give the term very much plot armor. Perfect.
Yeah, it's fantastic playbook. It is. I will say this is probably very good for us doing a one-on-one. It can be a little. It gets a little lopsided if you're actually in a group, but for solo play, hell yeah. You're the chosen one. Sweet. And then you also get to pick another one of your options, one of your moves from your playbook. When it is referencing things like forward and ongoing, so if you have a look at the dutiful move there, it can say if it's a heroic tag, take +1 forward. Basically what that means is you will take +1 on the next immediate roll that you make. If you have +1 ongoing for a situation, that means that you will continually get a +1 buff to your rolls for however long that situation lasts. And again, in Monster of the Week, it's a little bit more fluid, so it's usually from like scene to scene or situation to situation. Or sometimes the ongoing might state, you know, you have +1 ongoing for the rest of the mystery, in which case it's until you finish the quest. Yeah, so that's roughly what that lingo means. Cool.
If I pick one of these now,
yeah.
I think my eyes immediately went to it. The big entrance.
Yes.
Hear the music. We're in.
Fantastic. And it's it's a great example of the slightly more narrative-based situation. So it's not, you know, you can use your big entrance just when you walk into a dangerous situation. So it's not whenever you roll initiative or whatever. It's just like, I'm going to go and talk to these very mean people that we know don't like us, and I'm going to make a big deal out of it. Then you can make this roll. It's great. Hey,
Nemesi, just stop it, okay? What is going on? Big entrance.
This does feel, it feels extremely appropriate that I think your character and also all of your Nemesi have the same move.
Yeah.
What is going on? Make the big entrance. Amazing. Fantastic. So that's the stuff there. If you scroll up a little bit, you can also hide the moves that you're not using in Roll20. If you just click the hide unused, then it'll just keep the ones that you got ticked.
Oh, look at that.
Easy way to tidy stuff up.
There we go.
Exactly. Next, we're going to go to the gear. So this is the equipment that you get to start out with. You automatically get to have the protective gear worth 1 armor. So you've got some sort of outfit that you're able to
So I'm
yourself
not
a
that
little
tough.
bit protected.
I've got tough one. I have all these nemesis out to get me. What am I doing?
Exactly. Yeah. And in terms of equipment and combat, they both work off a kind of tag-based system. So when it says stuff like harm or magic or messy or things in that equipment, they've all got their own little tags for what they mean in the main rules book. Having armor is one of the few ways that you can reduce the amount of damage you take. So +1, having 1 armor is like soak, essentially, which if you might be more familiar with. So anytime you take a certain amount of damage, you're going to automatically take 1 off of however much damage you would take. Then, because you're a chosen one, you get to pick your special weapon. You get to pick what kind of form it comes in, which is that first drop-down list. And again, they're all kind of guideline. They are inspiration for how the narrative's going to unfold. So if you have something that has the hand tag, then it means that it's likely on or in your hand. If it's got an area tag, you can attack with it in an area. Or if it's got a heavy tag, it's going to be something that's pretty hard to carry around. You probably won't be able to spin it on your finger, things like that. And they're all used to kind of just inform how the narrative works once you've done your role. Perfect.
Heavy sounds fantastic. Like, oh my god,
right?
We're in the counter with this thing. Are you kidding me? Just because a nemesis jumps out at me? Oh my god, why is it so heavy?
Just carving a groove down the street. Fantastic. And so then you get to pick the business end. So we know that it's got a heavy haft. Now you get to pick the business end of your specific weapon, which is going to add even more harm. It's going to make it even better to hit.
Or just magical. Does magic what does magic do? Just any old thing?
Basically, it just makes it a magic weapon, which is usually more so used for the keeper's benefit. So if I'm making a monster stat block, or if I'm just making up my monster information, I can kind of have an idea of what I think it will be, how much it will have in its own set of like armor, what kind of attacks might actually affect it, or what special abilities it might have. So for instance, if I was setting up an adventure that had a lot of ghosts, might say, if you're not hitting it with a weapon that has a magic as a tag, it's not going to do anything. Or if you're hitting a werewolf with a silver tag weapon, it's going to do a whole bunch. That kind of stuff.
All right. Yes. Artifact sounds appropriate, I think. So magic. I'm envisioning like absolute ridiculous weapon, like what's it? The one that Cloud has. Kind of thing. The big like
the Buster sword.
Yeah, the big Buster sword. The ridiculously heavy thing was too heavy, and it's dragging around. It's like everyone looks at it and go, "What are you doing?" Like, I know. Like, it's fine.
I have to. I'm sorry.
So I have to leave it at home. It's annoying. I have to leave it at home. What are the odds Nemesis is going to jump me today? I'll just leave it at home today. And they jump me.
Every time you leave it at home, you get jumped.
Yeah. Look, buddy. I know you came all this way to challenge me or whatever, but like I left it at home today. Can we do it later? Can we just like rain check, please? I'm real busy. You're interrupting this date right now. It's really awkward.
Amazing. Yeah. And you get to pick what material it is as well. So whether it's an actual steel weapon, whether it's a big tooth, or it's made out of something otherworldly, you get to pick.
Obsidian.
Yes.
That sounds cool. So what? Let's copy paste that in plus obsidian.
Yeah, just chuck it in there. Awesome.
Perfect.
Now that is the basic way to have your character set up for Monster of the Week. You could take this anywhere, a Monster of the Week game, and jump into a story. One of the other aspects of Monster of the Week that I really love is the history section, which is specifically focused for when you have a group of players that you're starting an adventure with. Whenever you have a new character join the party, or you're formulating your party from the beginning, you each get to pick history for each other, which means that you're you're putting in concrete how you kind of know each other, or what an aspect of your relationship is before you start going off and hunting monsters together. So maybe you're related, maybe you're friends, maybe you used to be rivals, and every different playbook has some different suggested history prompts, and you can also make your own ones up as well. But the way that it works is that you would make, so say we were making a 2-person party together, I would get to pick my history for you, and you would get to pick one for me. So we both get to have a kind of say on how we already know each other, and how that informs the rest of the story. I really love that. One, it's a great kind of starting point for making sure that everybody feels invested and like inclined towards teamwork. And it's also great for if you do just want to have a new person jump into your game. It's a super great way to immediately be like, oh yeah, this is the guy that we knew secretly, even though he's been in none of the previous seasons of this TV show. I know that guy, that's my cousin.
Cue flashback.
Yeah, exactly. Flashback. Yeah. And so it's just a really great way of very quickly bringing people into the game and making it accessible for new people. Yeah, which I also love. We might not do it now unless, again, it's kind of more so relevant for when you have more than one character.
Bonds and quite an interesting role play in the group. You want that group banter and
exactly
how group functions is always
rather
nice to
than
have.
Rather than the couple of sessions of a D&D game where you're like, I don't know if my character likes your character. It's like, yeah, no, fair. You're just gonna jump straight in. But so that's the basics of how you put your character together. You scroll back up to this character sheet, and we are going to, if you click on the arrow next to Hunter Moves Reference, just above Charm.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. These are all your moves. These are all the things that you have available to you. So every hunter has a basic list of moves that they can always do, kind of like your standard actions in D&D. So like everybody can attack, everybody can dash, everybody can dodge kind of thing. These are all the basic moves that you have available to you as a hunter. So going down the list, act under pressure. Very much what it sounds like. You want to do something under pressure that might not be covered by some of the other specific moves. You just click act under pressure and you roll to see if you get to do it. And if you... Yes. So what this is it's gonna come up with 2 options in this version. Basically, which stat you're rolling to act under pressure with. Most of the time it's going to be cool for this. Because but you might have certain playbook moves that let you pick different things. So like you might be able to manipulate people with your sharp or with your tough or whatever. But it'll start out with the default and you go submit, and then it'll ask you if you have any buffs or anything on this roll. You don't. Submit.
Okay.
And then if you go to the chat.
Get up, chat.
Excellent! Ooh. You got an 11. It's a success. Hooray!
It's pretty good. Not bad first roll. There's a cool graphic on it too. Oh, it has it all.
Yeah, it's got a cool little graphic. And if you click on the arrow next to act under pressure, this also gives you the kind of quick access to how these rolls actually work out. So if you got a 10+, you get to do what you set out to do. If you had gotten a mixed success, which is 7 to 9, then I get to decide whether you get a worse outcome, a hard choice, or a price to pay. And there is also an option there for if you fail, which is usually the thing goes badly and I get to do something mean. When it comes to...
I can't die, I have plot armor, so...
Yes, you can't die, but very, very wisely chosen. Yeah, as part of what I kind of mentioned earlier, as a keeper, I'm never going to roll dice. I don't need any dice to be running this game because all of the things that are going to happen in the story are more informed by how the players roll. So I can set up the locations, the monsters, the kind of NPCs of the setting, and I can know what is going to happen in the worst case scenario of the mystery. So if the heroes didn't show up and try and stop bad things from happening, but I don't get to put any of that into play without there being a role from the players. I'm allowed basically what's referred to as soft moves, so I can set up like, hey, this building's about to fall down, what are you going to do? Or this monster is about to take a swing at this bystander, what are you going to do? But the actual hard moves, so like actually making a bad thing happen, actually dealing harm to somebody, that I can't do unless you roll badly, which is great. Takes all the guilt out of my corner.
You chose this. What?
Purely on you.
So it's very much, I guess, like having everything kind of set DCs and kind of like I'm just using default, I guess, damage for monsters and things like that. No, it's no rolling here. It's I assume there's monster stats in the keeper side of things that has these damage. You do like examples of certain monsters and things.
Absolutely, yeah. So it has very much the same kind of tags like you just went through with setting up your gear. So when you go and set up the information for a monster, it'll have, you know, do they have armor? How much damage do they do? Do they have any interesting abilities that they get to use? And how much harm can they take overall? And then when it comes to, how they work in an actual fight, or in a in-person, like close-up scenario, it is very much like running with the standard DCs and set damage. You don't have to roll for anything. You just know that this bite always does 2 harm, and that's the standard. The way that combat kind of works in this is whenever you're going to kick some ass, which is another one of your options as a move, that a player who is dealing harm will also take harm from the thing that they're attacking, unless they roll really well and have an opportunity to avoid that. But the standard thing is if you're doing harm to something, they do harm to you. So I don't have to worry about rolling to hit you. You just have to do a bad job of hitting me, and then I get to hit you back. It's also quite nice because there's no specific delineation between those kinds of phases of gameplay. So we don't roll for initiative and go into the combat phase. It's all just strung together. And there's no specific kind of time restrictions on anything either. So in the heat of the moment, you can still take a second to roll to investigate a mystery and see if you can piece everything together in the middle of a heated scenario.
The Mind Palace.
Exactly.
We'll come together.
Everything go into bullet time for sure. Yeah. And similarly, if you want to beat something up, we're not going to roll initiative, or we're going to keep fighting until things hit 0 hit points. It's like, okay, we're in the middle of a scenario and you've decided you're going to punch that guy. Go ahead. And then we'll see if everybody else follows suit, or if they want to do something else. There are a variety of other moves as well for your basic hunter moves. You've got your help out, which is exactly what it sounds like, helping out your fellow teammates. So if somebody rolls, for example, if somebody rolled an 11 and you wanted to get them up to a 12, you can decide in the heat of the moment that you are helping out, and you can just automatically do that so long as it seems, reasonable for you to be doing that. You can't be story-wise, you can't be across town and go, I'm helping out. But if it's reasonable, you could just roll to help out, and you just kind of risk getting yourself involved in whatever danger they're in a little bit. There's investigating a mystery, which is finding out facts about the thing that you're trying to solve. So what creature you might be after, or how what the actual clues that you're seeing are gonna lead you to, what kind of conclusions you can draw from stuff. There's also it comes with a bunch of preset questions there, but there's also the alternate version, which is like a little bit more flexible if you yourself have a question that doesn't really fit into those lists. There's a few options there. That's also another place where you can see some more terminology. So having a hold is basically what it sounds like. So if you rolled a +10 to investigate a mystery, you have 2 hold, and you can just keep those to yourself to use them whenever you want. If you want to use them straight away, you want to use one of your hold and say, hey, what was this creature going to do? You can use it straight away, or you can keep a hold of it, see how the rest of the scene or the situation you're in develops, and then say, oh, actually, I want to see where it went, or something like that. So that's what the kind of hold mechanic is about. Yeah. Investigate a mystery flexibility. If you want to have your specific questions, does this monster like Led Zeppelin? I don't know. Maybe.
People want to know.
People want to know. Curious minds are wanting to know. Kick some ass. Exactly what it sounds like. You're going to kick some ass. And again, most of the time, the things that you're fighting are going to hurt you, or you're going to hurt each other. And if you roll really well, you can sometimes decide that you're going to get less hurt. But it's up to how good you roll. Manipulate someone is your charisma, again, your social ability. So I'm trying to explain a situation to a frustrated police officer, or trying to get bystanders to leave the parking lot because they're in immediate danger. There is also something I really appreciate with this game, is there are built-in mechanics when it comes to social checks for other players and for monsters, which could always be a little tricky to navigate when it comes to in D&D. Sometimes your bard hits a 30-something on persuasion, and you're like, okay, well, I guess there's no more fight. You can't manipulate monsters in this game, which is great. Takes it all off my table. Unless you have a specific move for it, you can't negotiate with the big bads of whatever mystery you're on. And you can feel free to socially manipulate any of the regular NPCs, the normal people. When it comes to manipulating hunters, so fellow players, that is also a thing you can roll for, but it explicitly says that however you roll doesn't determine that the player has to do the thing. So if you roll really well, then and the player that you're manipulating decides that they want to go with the course of action that you're putting forward, you mark experience. And if you roll really well and they don't go with the thing that you propose, then it just doesn't happen, which is also great. Personally, it can help save a lot of that kind of tension.
Decide what to do, guys. The different plans and what they instigate. All right. At least you get XP out of it. There you go. Okay. Yeah, and it lets all the players kind of hold on to their authority, which is great. Self-autonomy. Protect someone. This is your other tough move. Again, sounds like what it is. If someone else is getting hurt, you can roll to protect them or get them out of the way of the danger. Read a bad situation is very much is the kind of other sharp skill, which is more specifically, like it says, for an immediate situation. So rather than looking at a crime scene full of clues, you are in the middle of a confrontation with the big bad, and you need to know immediately the best way to survive, or the best way to hit this thing to bring it down. And then use magic. It has a whole bunch of different options. If you go to effects, these are all the different things you could do with use magic. And you don't, it's entirely up to you how you want to flavor your magic. So if you want to say that you only use 1 or 2 of these options, you can. If you want to have this whole list of abilities at your disposal, you can have that too. It's a whole thing available to you. It
it covers a lot of stuff. There's literally an entry there that just says do one thing that's beyond human limitations, which, you know, pretty good catch-all.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of magic. I turned into a giant snake. Okay, does that ever help? No, but you know, never does.
It's a thing that I can do, though.
Yeah.
And it's great. You can use it for a whole bunch of different stuff. It does have some limitations, like how you were asking about bringing people back from the dead, if that happens to be a thing. Sometimes a keeper can decide that the thing that you are trying to undertake is big magic, which is that next option. And it means that what you're trying to do might need to fit a certain number of requirements before you're able to actually do it. So like, you know, getting your 500 gold diamond for Raise Dead. In this situation, you might need certain people, you might need to take a lot of time with it, and that's totally up to the keeper. And that is usually reserved for those things that, you know, you still want to actually matter in your game rather than being able to solve it in a pinch. So like bringing people back from the dead, like, you know, sealing that hell portal, all those kinds of things. There is also the alternate weird moves on this character sheet, which is all the various different things that you can use if you don't want to have magic, but you still want to be weird. So like being able to access your past lives for information about what you might want to do next. Being telekinetic, being able to just push your body beyond its usual physical limits, all those kinds of things are also available to you if you want to be a little bit of a normie, but you still want to be weird in your own unique way. Yeah, so those are all the overview of all the various universal moves that you have, and then as we've gone over before, each of the playbooks kind of gets their own special stuff that they're able to do as well. Yeah.
Cool. Trust your gut. Is it Spidey sense basically there?
Pretty much, yeah. It's trusting your gut is like yeah, it's like Spidey sense and also kind of being at one with the Force in a way of like, I know that if I reach out, it will tell me where I need to be to achieve our dream. I do really love with Trust Your Gut, it tells you, it says that you, your gut will tell you something important, but what you think is important and what your gut thinks is important might differ. So
I just visualize the keeper basically whispering in your ear, hey, go do this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh. All right then.
Hey,
get back on that plot I hinted at. Go do it.
Go back and talk to that random librarian, please.
Yeah, don't ignore the NPC. Huh? All right.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right then.
It's great.
Nah.
Yeah, but that's the general kind of breakdown of what you're able to do as a player and with your characters. And then actual gameplay is super easy to pick up because it's literally, do you pass, do you kind of pass, or do you fail in whatever you're setting out to do? And just being aware of like the story that you're trying to build and the situations that you're in, and kind of knowing where you can fit the different little descriptive things about your character into that world. It's really great.
Perfect.
Yeah. I will say one of my favorite things that I personally love about this game is also that it is already that I love having a real world fantasy like setting, environment, and stats for being able to build that is very able to be very grounded, because I find it so funny. A lot of the time when I'm playing Monster of the Week, a lot of the time I will run games that are just in New Zealand, because it's great, because then it's, if you want to know where something is, go jump on Google Maps and we could do the maps that way. It's great. And it's also hilarious watching people realize that you can't open carry your weapons. Yeah. So what are you doing?
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience doing a modern setting. Yeah, I've encountered a lot of that in World of Darkness games. Yeah, as well. Yeah, definitely makes, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, world building, running games in modern day. I find, I feel like I don't know. I'm not schooled enough in the modern world. In some locations, sometimes like, I don't know. I can't just make it up. Is it okay? I get this wrong. Like running a game, especially running a game outside of your, like, I don't know, Canada or somewhere. I don't know, somewhere far away, and it's like, I'm guessing this. I've never been there before. According to Google Maps, it's this, but.
I think as long as everybody at your table is a little bit happy to take creative license, it's probably fine. Although you'd be surprised, there's some really fantasy-esque places just in the real world, which is quite fun. Like I just recently decided to just do a mystery that kind of involved like underwater sea creatures, like sea monsters, down in Milford Sound. And there's a great little island in Milford Sound called Breaksea Island, which also sounds like it could just be on a fantasy map.
Yeah, who names these places?
Exactly, it's great. It's lovely. And also figuring out like where the modern offshoots of different societies would live. Like one of my favorite aspects of doing stuff in New Zealand is that the main vampire community is down in the Oamaru steampunk crowd, but that's where they spend all their time, and kind of fleshing that kind of stuff out is always just so much fun. I love it. It's great.
Nice. To keep their old school attire. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're all into LARPing, hardcore. Every vampire likes LARPing. Makes
sense. I LARP.
Yeah.
I totally see it happening.
Exactly. But yeah, was there anything else that, like, you as a really storied D&D player was interested about?
So does the game itself come with its own setting per se, like Forgotten Realms or anything like that, or is it more of a just use modern day, add his supernatural tropes, have fun?
No, it's very much modern day, so it's very much just open to wherever you want to put it. It gives you the kind of building blocks for how to think about certain locations, to how to kind of categorize them so that they're useful for gameplay. But there's no specific like monster of the week always starts in this particular town.
Or example town.
Yeah,
there's like examples in the book and like sets for a truck or whatever.
Yeah, there's a few example arcs, like a few example mysteries and things that you can check out. And they do have a really good step-by-step in the core book of how to go through and pick, like, this is how much this monster should be able to do, or this is what this bystander should be there for, kind of thing. It's really useful.
Wonderful. And does the monsters have like little like lore write-ups too? Like they got like, here's a bit of lore myth about them to inspire stories about? Do they do much of that?
Not as much. But
they rely more on just you repeating up all the myths and legends you just know, the common myths,
and it's
like werewolves and things like that.
Yeah, and it's more open for you to kind of come up with whatever you think fits your story, and also how you think, like, so that you can kind of change up the balance of stuff. Like if you really want your vampires to be super vicious and super hardcore harm, they can take you down to half health immediately, then you can do that, or you can just scale it back a bit, however you want to use it. They give you guidelines of, like, you know, something that can do 4 harm in 1 attack is going to be real deadly, and they give you those kind of parameters, but any of the lore and stuff that you want to make up is totally in your hands.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful. It's a really different experience. They have, you know, cell phones and things like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And modern technology. You know, yeah.
Absolutely. I had a player who was a crooked, who had made gotten in trouble from a defunct crypto scheme, and things like that, where it's just, you know, randomly thrown in with a bunch of magical stuff is great. It's so much fun. And being able to, yeah, it's just wild having those settings being like, oh yeah, we could just call the cops. Why are they not here? Let's go to a hospital. And then also, how do I explain this to the hospital staff? It's great. I think there is definitely like, it's very funny compared to D&D, where all of the monstrous stuff is accepted and part of the setting and everybody knows. Monster of the Week definitely lends itself to, like, there are the select group that are kind of dealing with the monsters in secret, and then also have to exist in the real world, and that could be
and there were mundane problems, mundane life, real life situations.
Exactly. And
I love those mundane scenarios and supernatural stuff, but dealing with mundane stuff.
Exactly. And it's also great because, like, something I've found between running D&D and Monster of the Week is it really frees you up as a game master to go for those really out of the box quest ideas, or those things that you see in the TV shows and you really badly want to do, like an episode like that, but it's really hard to come up with the right mechanics for it in D&D. So, like, for example, one of the mysteries that I've run before is just all of the players wake up and they're teenagers now. And that's just a thing that they've all accepted, and that's what it is. And you've got to work out why the heck that happened, which is one of those things that happens in those kinds of TV shows. Or that kind of media that, like, I would have no idea how... You'd have to go up to a wish spell to be able to do that, probably convincingly in D&D. All those kinds of things. A
wizard did it.
Yeah, exactly. A wizard did it. Why and how?
Or like, the singing episode of Buffy or whatever.
Exactly. The musical episodes, 100%. Yeah. And nobody can be like, all right, well, I just cast a spell magic. It's done. No. Yeah. It's great. I have yet to be able to pull off having a singing episode, though. I do. That is always on the mind, the musical episode.
Yeah, it's like up there, like making players always talking rhyme or something like that, like or the right table, I guess, make sure it's up to the challenge. Like, hold on.
For sure.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think even sometimes I have had to be like, this mystery's gonna be weird, but just stick with me. I just promise it'll be really fun.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's either be episodic, but obviously you want an ongoing story arc as well to build up, be it the character's personal story or, I guess, some greater mystery in the town or whatever.
Yeah, it is definitely a very different challenge. Like, I think if you're gonna, for a game master, if you're going to start running this game, just be open to having a bit more of a flexible story. Because things are going to come up that you could never expect. And that's one of the things that character creation really helps with. Like, you can have your kind of standard idea of what you want the campaign to be. Like, you will work in the X-Files, for example, and then somebody actually makes a flake character, and so, okay, well, now I've got to put a conspiracy theory in this to make that pay off. And so it really helps you build the story around what the characters are going to be good at and what the players are clearly interested in. And similarly, you might have someone just be like, oh yeah, I took a level up and I know magic now. And there's a brief panic, and then you have to be like, yes, of course you do, because I planned this all along.
Your destiny or something.
Exactly.
It's fated to be so.
Yes.
And so would you say the game is more of a sandbox then?
Yeah, I would
Or
say it's more of a sandbox. I think it does pay to have it does pay to have like an overarching story arc in mind.
yeah,
And it really is something that I think is easier to think of in terms of like pop culture media rather than necessarily like a campaign arc.
yeah,
Because I think you want to have something going over everything that you can kind of hint at so that it
yeah.
feels like everything can be
Close
connected.
that. But if players go off to go somewhere didn't plan for, if it's based on a real place, you can quickly get up your phone, quickly get up Google Maps or whatever. What's there? Oh, yeah, it's there. And boom, instant inspiration. Cool, it's there on the map.
Yeah.
Perfect. Blah, blah, blah. Off we go.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's so useful. But it is, it's way more sandbox, and honestly, it's a little bit easier sandbox because if someone asks me, hey, is there a dairy here, I can be like, yeah, probably, because I can think of the real world. And if you don't have as much experience kind of improvising that sort of stuff in a pure high fantasy setting, and you have to come up with something that you're worried might later on break your game, it's less likely to happen in a real world setting.
Yeah, and I guess you didn't worry about like coming up with dairy owner stats in this example.
Yes.
Where say like I'm trying to convince the dairy owner about this thing. I roll my mission roll. It's all on me to roll a good number. It's I don't think about like what's the type of insight of this dairy owner. What's there about like off you go. I'll come up with the backstory of the dairy owner later. It's not relevant right now.
Absolutely. It's you just have to have a rough idea of like what'll happen when this goes well, what'll happen when it kind of works, and what happens when it fails. And that's way easier to determine than, like you said, being like, okay, he has 3 kids, but one of them's gone to mage college, and his wife works at the armory downtown. If someone got like a 20 insight or whatever. Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Perfect.
Sweet. Yeah. There's actually a whole section in the core Monster of the Week book, literally called Running the First Mystery. And it gives you a whole breakdown of how to write up your different monsters, how to keeping in mind the different things that the keeper should be doing specifically, in terms of like how you make an interesting story happen when you're kind of working off of other people's initiative. Like you have to wait for other people to roll. So how it's best to go about running those games, and like how to make reasonable threats out of the situations. There's also a whole
Because I was wondering that, because if you're waiting for players to do something, especially as a passive player at the table who's kind of sitting back a bit quiet, how do you pull them in when you can't wait if they don't do anything?
Yeah.
Does it cover a bit of that?
It's interesting, I think, knowing what people are, what characters are kind of better at and kind of geared towards is really useful. And I think the way that the stats in Monster of the Week kind of break down, like, you know that a wronged character is always going to be pretty good at being the fight character because you've got that kind of understanding of the tropes a little bit more. So it's easier for you to be like, okay, that character, if I put this kind of scene in the situation, like, I know that if I put a research scene in, then the expert's going to be in their zone and they can jump in and help out with that.
Oh boy, research.
Yeah, research. We're going to the library.
No.
Exactly. So before you run your first mystery, there's actually a whole section called Creating Your First Mystery.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic. And it gives you some all there in a lovely package. And it gives you some really great tips on the different elements that you really need to kind of make your mystery. So having your basic concept, having your hook, knowing what your minions, what your monsters are going to be, and then knowing what minions those monsters might have, knowing what the different kind of NPCs and locations that your players might come across could be. There's also a really cool mechanic that I find really handy, and I've kind of adopted to take to other games as well, for planning what your monster is doing, called a countdown. And it literally is a 7-step spectrum, essentially, from like things are really fine and dandy at the very beginning of the mystery, and then at the bottom of the spectrum is like, what is the worst case scenario if your heroes hadn't come along? So if the hunters never showed up, what is this kind of 7-step plan that your monster would have been working towards? It's really handy for keeping in mind how to keep things dangerous, in terms of like, oh, I just know that if you do something bad here, that's going to inch closer towards that thing, and I know that that's what I'm shooting for. And that's honestly a very handy thing to take into other games as well. I've found it great. And that's also a big part of having hard moves as a keeper, where you can't, instead of deciding this bad situation, you rolled the equivalent of a nat 1, so I'm going to hurt you a whole bunch. Instead, I can actually hold on to that hard move and go, okay, I'm just going to move that marker on that spectrum along a little bit more, and I know that things are going to get a lot harder and a lot worse because you've given me a hard move to use, and I can just have that going in the background. But yeah, there's a really great breakdown of that in the book, and giving you different kind of tags for a whole bunch of things. So a lot of the NPCs are kind of broken down into different tags and what their motivations are. So like, you might have a busybody whose motivation is just to get into everybody's business, or you might have a skeptic whose motivation is to doubt that there's anything supernatural going on. And that's kind of how they delineate those different NPCs and their different goals. Same with monsters, they've got a bunch of different tags, and same with locations as well. So like, the supermarket might be a hub, and it's where you go to get a whole bunch of information. That's what that location is for. And a variety of other tags, and they're just super handy for having a quick scenario in your head, rather than having to be like, I've got all the different DCs for all the different hallways of this particular building. It's like, the purpose of this building is for people to get lost and turned around. That's what it's there for. So I'm going to use that at any opportunity when it's available to me. So if you are interested in going and running your own game, or seeing how that kind of stuff works, highly recommend you go and go and grab a copy of the book and check out that section. Also, super fun. See if you can watch some of those TV shows and spot where they've used those tags, because it's very much easy to create a one-to-one with the different scenarios and people involved. It's very interesting, and possibly hard to go back once you notice.
Fair enough. So this game that we were talking about, Monster of the Week. So Monster of the Week was designed by Michael Sands.
Yeah.
Michael Sands, and a Kiwi designer. Yeah, Kiwi Project. And when did that come out? How long has this game been in existence for?
Oh, this game has been around. Well, it's been around for a bit. The current revised edition that I've got is from 2015. So it's been around. First published in 2015.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
2015. Oh yeah. So
coming up on
8 years.
Yeah, coming up on the 10-year anniversary.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Yeah.
It's been on a block. Yeah, it's still got a pretty good following. If someone wanted to get on board and watch this video right now, and they're like, man, I want to get a copy of this book, where would you recommend them hunting it down Any particular haunts you'd recommend?
Yeah, well, the Evil Hat Games website is actually really great because they sell both the book and just a PDF copy as well. And it is well known enough that it's often kicking around your local game store as well if they've got a decent selection. Yeah, but it's super easy to pick up, and the PDF is really useful. That's what I've used a lot of the time for when I'm running stuff. And like I said, all of the playbooks and the kind of basic guideline rules for how moves work and how to play the game are actually all downloadable from the website. So you can go and just check them out and have a go.
Yeah, those drop down fields and pull in boxes seems pretty quick. Just really wait to get a character, inspiration's right there. Boom, 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 boom. Off we go.
Yeah.
Let's do a mystery. And so, but if I did have a group in this hypothetical situation, I wanted to get someone to run me a game. Do you have any suggestions how I might do that, Ruby?
Sure. Are you teeing me up for a suggestion?
Questbook.
Questbook. Oh no. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I personally run a whole bunch of Monster of the Week through Questbook. It's honestly the main game that I'm running at the moment. It's great, and it's also a really great game that, in terms of if you want to give it a go and you're not sure you can commit to a whole bunch of stuff, you can usually wrap up a mystery in like 2 or 3 sessions. So it's really great to just go head to Questbook, check out who might be available to run a game, play for a few sessions, see how it feels, and then sign up for some more if you're interested. It's also super easy to find your local Buffy nerd and be like, hey, do you want to run a game that's Buffy?
Like that Buffy experience. Yeah. Wonderful. And homegrown in New Zealand too. So get there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's amazing stuff coming out of New Zealand all the time. And the RPG and gaming space in general. It's really growing space.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me on Cutting Words today, Ruby, and explaining this Monster of the Week. Yeah, we're sure to check it out. Questbook.nz. You can find Ruby on there, and me, in fact, on the Questbook website. We're storytellers there, especially if you're in New Zealand watching this. You can potentially bookable. But anyway, words and things. Anything you want to say finally? To sign off, anything like that?
Just, thanks so much for having me. It's been a joy to come here and talk about this fantastic game. And there, like you said, there are so many other amazing Kiwi RPGs out there as well to go and check out. And I highly recommend that you do, because sometimes the stuff that you're already in love with is actually homegrown, and you find out and you're amazed, and it's fantastic. There is so much fantastic content being put out by so many local creators, so go and check that stuff out. And if you want to give it a go, get in touch with us at Questbook and be like, hey, I really want to play this Kiwi RPG, and we'll probably be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and you can find more Kiwi RPG products and other developers, designers, and content creators. That's the word I'm looking for. To summarize all that at KiwiRPG.com. We have a little coalition, a little website there, grouping us all together. You can find links to, well, this YouTube channel and more. So check that out. KiwiRPG.com. I'm Brad Thompson, and this has been Cutting Words. If you like these videos, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss these videos that come out on the regular on the YouTubes. If you like this new interview format, just trying it out, testing it out. If you like more videos like this, let me know in the comments below. Perhaps any other rule systems you're curious about, learning about for the various different RPGs, let me know. We can maybe potentially look at doing a regular thing. Get a guest in, help us learn the rules of these various games, because reading's hard. A lot of books up there, a lot of words. Having a a video kind of going over it all really helps. All right. Happy gaming and see ya.